Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second half of the presentations at reCAP 2026. Very excited to have you with us. On stage, we have Lisa and Max from the CAP team, and joining them, we have Dries and Matisse from Expertum, who will be taking us through the latest and greatest in CAP plugins. Let's give them a round of applause.
All right. Thanks a lot for the introduction. Welcome to our session, CAP Plugins, latest and greatest. We have a pretty packed agenda, so hope you all had a good lunch and now have some power for our session. First of all, I want to start with a short introduction on plugins. So maybe first of all, who of you knows what a CAP plugin is? Who knows the CAP plugin? Okay, quite a lot, almost the whole room. Who ever used a plugin? An application? Pretty much the same. Whoever built an own CAP plugin? Okay, cool. So if you ask your favorite AI assistant, it might come up with a definition, something around it's a reusable extension integrating some external services, for example, or extending some CAP functionality in a plug-and-play fashion. And that already includes some of the core principles we use for the plugins. So it's really meant to be plug-and-play. So we always aim for an intent-based declarative approach by just using some annotations, for example, to reduce the boilerplate code you have to write. So the goal is always minimal configuration and maximum ease of use. It's also a very extensible system approach by design. First of all, CAP is very extensible, so you can extend event handlers, hook into events, but also the plugins themselves are pretty extensible. And all in all, the goal is to really abstract away the complexity of those tasks and give you a very easy way to use those plugins by using the Khaleesi pattern. So a very good example of plugins is actually BTP service integration. So who has ever integrated some BTP service? And who has ever had some pain doing that? Okay, exactly the same number of hands. So if we imagine a world without CAP plugins and CAP level service integration, it would be a very tedious world, right? So we would have a lot of integration points, basically low-level API calls for all the different services, which is on the one hand a very high development effort, but even worse, it's a lot of technical debt, right? You have to maintain all that code, you have to keep it up to date, you have to change it if there are new BTP service versions are released. So all in all, very tedious. Now, if we think about how it looks like with CAP and with CAP plugins and CAP level service integrations, there's only one integration point, and that's CAP. So all of the integrations, or at least as much as possible, is abstracted away. And it really allows developers to focus on the domain instead of all those tedious integration tasks and cross-cutting concerns. So, of course, we use that approach internally within SAP as inner source, for example. So we as a CAP team develop some plugins, but also other teams within SAP implement some plugins for integrating their services, for example. But it's a very open ecosystem. So whenever we can, we also try to make those plugins open source. So that's basically the second tier you can see here, SAP open source, so that the community can contribute, create issues, can discuss about the plugins, and so on. But not only we as SAP can develop such plugins, but basically everybody, you, the community, partners, customers, can create plugins and then use it in their applications. Okay, but enough theory for now. Let's actually look at some of the latest and greatest innovations that we did in the last year. And for that, handing over to Lisa for a demo.
Yeah, thank you. So
So I will now give you a demo of the change tracking plugin using the Node bookshop. This plugin has existed before, but we've fundamentally renewed it. So now it's with version 2. And so what we want to do with this plugin, I'm here in my bookshop. And when I go ahead and change some important information of a book, let's say the price, let's change this to 20. And also possibly the chapters that I have here of the book. Then, if that's critical information, I would like to know who has changed that, what was the value before, what was the value after, and when. And here in this change history facet, I can now see, okay, me, that's Alice, I have changed the price from 13.13 to 20.13. And also I can see the chapters here, because the chapters are an association to the book. You can see that I have changed the chapter title. And what I had to do to get this running is actually not a lot, so it's pretty simple, as Max already mentioned. I had to do an npm add capjs change tracking, and then I had to create a file, change tracking CDS, where you can give it any name, or include it even in another CDS file. And there I said, okay, I would like to have certain fields of book change tracked and also the chapters change tracked. So I do this with this pretty simple annotation here, and that's actually already all. Yeah, and now I hand over back to Max. And there you go.
Okay, so let's quickly recap what we just saw in the demo. As Lisa already mentioned, we completely revisited, re-architected the plugin. So the new version, version 2, uses native database triggers instead of app-level triggers, which makes sense and is beneficial in a couple of ways. So first of all, it gave us a significant performance improvement, which you can also see on the diagram here, by pushing down the computation-heavy stuff to the database layer and not doing it on the application level, which is always a good idea. We can see in simple cases a speed up of up to 3 times, but in more complex cases with a lot of children entities, we can even see a speed up of 54 times. So it should be much, much faster in your applications. There are also a couple of other enhancements we did and we now could do with the revised architecture. So for example, as Lisa showed, we now have a tree table visualization to show changes in nested entities. And we also improved the CDS expression language support, so you can add conditions and more sophisticated logic when to do the change logging. Right, just one more note, because it was such a big re-architecture, there's some migration needed from version 1 to 2, so watch out for that. Okay, so that was a nice example of an already existing plugin that we enhanced, but now to something completely new, the brand new AI plugin. So over again to Lisa for a demo.
Yeah, thank you. So possibly some of you already saw this plugin in an earlier AI session by our team. There you saw the Node version, and now I'm going to show you the Java version of that AI plugin. So what I did is I started the Java sample bookshop with some bindings. Let me quickly scroll up to see them. So I found the AI core service and also the document AI. And let's have a look at what this plugin does. So the AI plugin is kind of a simplified connection to SAP AI Core. And this plugin uses the connection to AI Core by offering smart recommendations. So here I'm again in the bookshop, and we see for the book Wuthering Heights, the genre is missing. And also in this database table, the currency is missing. And now what's going to happen is when I will edit this book, The plugin will get more rows of the same table and then send these to AI Core. And then that will offer a smart recommendation for this row here that I'm editing that has the missing fields. And what we expect is, since this is a book by Emily Bronte and her sister, Charlotte Bronte, wrote a similar book with the genre drama. Now we're going to expect the same genre suggested to us here. And discard the draft and do that again. So when I edit, drama is suggested by the AI for me, and also Great Britain pounds because Emily is a British author. I can go ahead and save that and accept the recommendations from the system. Okay, that were smart recommendations. And now as a lab preview, we started with an integration to SAP Document AI. And SAP Document AI is a service on BTP where that enables you to analyze documents, PDFs or images, and extract the content. And the Document AI part of the AI plugin will extract the information and then give that back as a JSON. So here I have a section, or I have a supplier invoices app. And when I create an invoice, then I can upload a PDF document. And when we have a look at this PDF document, this is a sample invoice. I could now copy and paste all of the invoice info and kind of paste it into the invoice details here. Or instead, with the Document AI, I can extract the invoice data. And now what's happening in the background is this PDF is sent to the BTP service Document AI. The information on this PDF is extracted, sent back to the application in a JSON object, and then the application has to either match the fields that I want to fill in here. And when I refresh, we can see that the invoice data now has been filled out. Okay, so and now let me quickly go over the steps that were needed to include this AI functionality in my plugin. So I had to include a dependency in the POM XML. Also, for the smart recommendations, I had to include the Node version of the AI plugin. And for the smart recommendations, I have to annotate the genres with CS OData value lists. So very often that's already the case if you have a running application, so we'll actually not need to do this. And for the Document AI, a little bit more setup is currently needed. But for more details, you can reach out to us afterwards. So I will hand back over to Max now.
Hey, very cool demo. I think that's really impressive what you can do with just a couple of annotations. Again, let me highlight a couple of points here for the new AI plugin. So as Lisa mentioned, it's brand new. So the Node version is out for a couple of weeks. The Java version, we just released 1 or 2 weeks ago in an alpha version. And expect more features to come, right? So this is only the beginning. The goal is really that this plugin is the one-stop shop for all of your AI integrations, infusing AI capabilities via AI Core into your CAP applications. And everybody who ever tried to set up and used AI Core before also knows how tedious it is. So I think that's a really great benefit of that plugin, that we take care of all the plumbing, all the creation of resource groups, deployments, and so on in the background. And on top of that, we started implementing a couple of AI use cases and capabilities like the Rapid1-based recommendation, but also in the future, potentially the Document AI service, for example. Hey, and then we have one more demo for you. Actually, showing how to easily send emails using our notifications plugin.
Yes. So let me go to the same Java application. So the task we want to solve with the notifications plugin is sometimes an event happens and I want to be notified. And now here I chose, as the owner of this bookshop, I would like to be notified if a book is running low on stock. So if the stock, now I set it as below 5. So now I go ahead and set the stock here to something below 5, let's say 3. And I save this. And now I have started this application with an binding to the SAP alert notification service. And the plugin connects to the ANS service and then sends out an email to a recipient that I have defined. Now let's see. Yeah, just now I got an email that this book is low on stock, only 3 are left. In order to include this notifications plugin, I had to include a dependency in the POM XML. Okay, so I had to include a dependency in the POM XML. Furthermore, I had to create a CDS file called implementing a notification service with a low stock alert event. And there I could define several fields and also an email HTML template. And this low stock alert, so since it's in a CDS file, automatically a class low stock alert will be created for me. And I import this class in a notification handler that I also had to write, but not with a lot of content. So in this notification handler, I listen to update events of the books. And whenever the stock falls below my threshold of 5, I just send out the email using the ANS service, and that's it. So not a lot of configuration again. And with this, I hand over to Max again. Thanks.
What I want to highlight here is that Lisa just showed the Java version, which is, again, pretty new. So we just released it as an initial alpha version. There's also an existing Node version of that plugin, which was existing before, but just recently we also invested in improving that and basically, also improving your life when it comes to sending out emails, integration with Build Workzone, and so on. Okay, now let's come to a very familiar plugin. I think many of you know the attachments plugin already. It's quite an old plugin, one of the first plugins. What I want to highlight here is that we invested a lot in the last year into the enterprise readiness of the plugin. And what does it mean? So for both the Java and the Node version, we now have full BTP object store support for all the supported cloud providers. So you can use your favorite cloud provider, AWS, GCP, Azure, and integrate that with the attachments plugin via the object store. We also added multi-tenancy support. Short note on Java, we only support a shared bucket mode for now, but we're also working on the separate mode version. And we also added a couple of improvements for file restrictions, limiting the size, media types, improved malware scanning. So it supports TLS now, and also scanning on download. That's something that was missing because so far it was only scanning on upload. But obviously, you might want to scan it on download again because things might have changed in between. And just recently, we also added single attachment support. Okay, now coming to a couple of new plugins. And the first one that I want to present is the data privacy plugin. The data privacy plugin, currently only available for Node, provides out-of-the-box integration with SAP's data privacy integration service. Again, we have a very easy out-of-the-box approach here using annotations. So you just annotate your data model, your CDS model with the personal data and ILM annotation, and we basically do the rest for you, following the principle that you can focus on domain and we take care of the rest behind the scenes. What it does behind the scenes, so it basically automatically exposes endpoints used by DPI for consumption to show the data in the Managed Personal Data app, but also to do the whole blocking and deletion. Another plugin that was just released recently, that another team within SAP actually built, is the Data Inspector. It's kind of a special plugin because it also comes with an out-of-the-box UI, and the UI lets you inspect your database entities and service definitions, which is especially helpful in support cases, so for your support colleagues to actually inspect the database, but at the same time keeping all the authorization controls and audit logging, right? Because now you might ask, okay, I can just go to my database, to HANA, and look at the data, but then it would kind of bypass all the checks, right? And with the data inspector, all those checks, all those authorization controls and audit logging is still in place. It's also very easy to use. You just install it and then you get this UI out of the box. There are some annotations to kind of restrict which entities are exposed. But all in all, again, a very out-of-the-box experience. Last but not least, I want to mention the BTP print service plugin, which lets you integrate with the BTP print service very easily. Again, following a declarative approach, all you need to do is annotate your data model. It works on any entity with large binary attributes that can be printed. And then it also automatically adds a print button in the UI. And you can also use it programmatically. All right, so to sum it up, lots of investment, lots of innovation going on here in the space. And the adoption is steadily increasing, right? So on this diagram, you can see the download numbers from NPM for the Node plugins. And compared to last year or 2 years ago, we can see steady increase of the consumption, steady increase of the adoption. So it's really a success story of not only inner source, but also open source. And that brings me back to the slide I showed earlier to emphasize that it's really a very open ecosystem. Everybody can implement their own plugin. Of course, we implement some plugins to integrate with BTP services. But it's also open for customers and partners to implement their own plugins. And a very good example of that is actually Expertum. Very happy to have them on stage here, which will show you how they use plugins and specifically their version of notifications plugin to simplify their lives. So please join me in welcoming Dries and Mattis from Expertum.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you, Lisa and Max, for the great first part of the presentation. Hopefully, we can also achieve the same results with our plugin. Well, thank you for being here. My name is Dries van Warenberg, working at Expertum, and here with me is my colleague.
Matthijs van Steenhuizen. I also work at Expertum. Yeah. Let's get on to the agenda.
Well, for the agenda of today, we have a few minutes. We will be talking about the backstory, the concept, and the demo. First of all, how is this plugin started? How did it start? Where did it come from? Why was it needed? We will talk a little bit about the concept. How does this plugin work? Why does it even work? Because that's also sometimes hard to get, why stuff works. And then also a nice demo on how to use the plugin and to see the result in action.
Yes. On to the backstory. So at a customer, I had the necessity to send emails. It was a web shop, and we wanted to send order confirmations. At that customer, they don't have the notification service, so that was out of the picture. And I started thinking, do I need to write custom handlers for this again? Or could we make a plugin? So that's how the plugin ID came to be. And we will be sharing it with you all after. So yeah, now on to the concept.
All right, thank you, Matthijs. So when we have a look at this amazing picture, we do see, as it was mentioned today a few times already, previous in the presentation, also by DJ and in other sessions, we all like these annotations. These annotations make our life easy. They are a strong something, and they make it easy for us to configure something inside our CAP application. As well, it makes the life of the next programmer easier, because he can clearly read what is going on without having to go through all this Node.js code. Don't get me wrong, we like programming, but if it's easy configurable, why would we start programming code that is not necessary? So what can this plugin do for you? Obviously, it can send emails, but it is configurable at the database and the service level of the application. So let's say you want an email to be sent out when an order is created. You can put this annotation on the database and it will always happen. But it might be that on different services, you don't want this behavior. So if you put it on the service level, you can always choose where and when you want the notifications or emails better to be sent out. So if we have a look at how this plugin works or how to configure it with those annotations that we have foreseen at the moment, we see that the easiest thing to do is just to take your entity, in this case orders, and when you take the orders entity, you can easily enable email sending. Email sending to be sent out when something happens. There needs to be a trigger, which is the third one in this picture. It can be an insert, an update, a delete, whatever happens, you choose it, what needs to be sent out. And what needs to be sent out? Well, that's an email containing a certain template, an HTML template, also mentioned by Lisa and Max before. You have the email template, you say what needs to be sent, fully configurable, and here you say which one it is, the order confirmation template. That's a great thing, but another nice feature that we have in this plugin is conditions. Because if you send out emails, you would still need to go inside the code and say, but I only want this to happen when an order is created, if something is matching a certain condition, if the status is approved. Well, to make the life easier, again, a nice property inside this annotation has been foreseen. Also, the recipient field is present, where you can actually refer to the contact email that might have been stored inside your database, or you just leave it out and the email address of the logged-in user will be read out by the plugin, and the email will be sent. Obviously, we have a subject as well, and if anything goes wrong, we can also choose to roll back everything that happened and that we do not send out an email. Because telling your customer the order was confirmed while it was not creates way more work as well afterwards. So that's a nice feature as well. Then when we go to the next slide, we will see that with these templates, we also use the mustache handlers so that we can replace the placeholders with the real data coming from our database, the certain entity properties. Everything is matching with the plugin. Everything is fully configurable by the developer. And how to use this plugin, when we go to the next slide, we see we only have a very small configuration inside our package.json, where you can see that we have a kind graph. Another one exists as well, basic, which is used to mock this whole process, because you do not want to send out every single second an email while you are testing, but in production you use the graph kind, so that's the Microsoft Graph API in this case, which is configured as a destination, will be used to send emails. You provide the from property to say this is the email address I want to send it from, and you are good to go with this plugin. But I think that's more than enough information about the concept. Why don't we watch this plugin in real life working on stage, Matthis?
Let's pray to the live demo gods. This should work. Usually, it's just this simple to install the plugin. It's not yet live on NPM yet, but it will be in a couple of weeks. So let's start off with actually looking at what the plugin is. It's nothing more than hooking into the CAP life cycles. Let me get it a bit bigger. Yeah, so as you can see, we just listen to the served event, and then we start registering our email handlers. The email handlers are just looping over the CSN model, looking at the entities you have annotated, and if there is an email block, we actually register the handle on it with the configs you did, and then we can go on to the actual live demo part. As you can see, I have a simple service level annotation here on my orders, which will be sending out an order confirmation. I put in a condition I have to order more than 2, and it's sending the email directly to myself. And if we start it, we do need a profile hybrid because we use the destination service. And once it's launched, you can see an extra line, which is the email plugin initializing and registering for the order service order entity. Yesterday, I had Claude build a small little demo front end on which we can now order books. If I order a quantity of 1, we will see no email logs. The preview site is Claude, but if we look at my email inbox, I don't actually receive an email. If we go back and order a different book with a quantity of 4, for example, we should now actually see the log coming in, and I will have an actual email. And then another cool thing you can do, like Dries mentioned, we can, instead of having a recipient hard-coded here, use a field from our actual entity. In this case, the contact email field. I should. Like so. If we save, the server will reboot. And then now we can use the handy little contact field that Cloud provided us, we do need to still have a quantity larger than or equal than 2, since the condition is in there. The conditions are, by the way, fully CDS expressions. So the syntax you know and love, you can use it there. And then in this instance, now it will be using the actual email we provide here. We get another log. And if we go back to my emails, we once again have a successful email sent. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the demo. And then I think we hand it back to Max and Lisa.
Right, thanks a lot. So we are pretty much at the end already. Just 2 more notes from our side. First of all, you can see the QR code here. So if you have any feedback on the session, if you liked the session, hopefully, then leave your feedback here. Of course, you can also leave critical feedback. And then, more importantly, we will have an expert corner on plugins starting in 10-15 minutes in the upper floor. So if you have any questions, you want to talk to us about any plugins, just stop by. So we'll be at the expert corner for the next hours. And with that, thanks a lot for your attention. I think we have 3 minutes left, so we could take 1 or 2 questions maybe.
Yes, we actually do have some time for questions. Are there any questions in the room? Here in front.
Just a specific questions for the notifications plugin, because I stumbled across that. Does it support real HTML files for the templates?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Any other questions in here? All the way in the back.
Thank you for the presentation. One quick question regarding the email plugin. Which protocols do you support? Because I think you go through an email server, and my question is, which email servers do you support?
Currently, we only support Microsoft Graph, so that's API-based. But we are looking into also using the Cloud Flare variant, as well as actually allowing SMTP as well.
Okay, thank you.
Making the cube setup. Other questions? If not, let's thank our speakers one more time. Once again, you can meet Max and Lisa up in the expert corner here in just a few minutes. At 3 o'clock, we have CAP integration made effortless. And before then, we have yoga, so enjoy.